Okay, so in order to access Gate 3, you can do it two ways: clicking on Our Work from the portal, clicking on Gate 3, that takes you into the application. Alternatively, you could open up a window on your browser and type in build.gate3.com. That takes you into the first page as well to sign in. Okay, so I'm going to sign in to Gate 3. And we recently had an enhancement to allow superintendents to be able to create hourly employees. It used to be a corporate function, so only the girls in payroll were able to actually create the hourly employees from the corporate home level. But we now have a new enhancement that was released about 2 weeks ago, and you now have the ability to create it at the project level. I'm just going to switch to go into the training sandbox environment and select my project. So once you select your project, clicking on the start, I'm going to go into the administration, because if it's a completely brand new project, for example the Sanofi job, it's a good idea to make sure and verify that you have certain parameters set up in the administration settings module. So always selecting your project level, and then scrolling down to field management time cards. I'm going to go ahead and just open that and review the parameters that you should be looking for. So in Gate 3, similar to Edge Builder, we do allow the time card generation. So if you want to use the time card generation so that it automatically generates a draft time card for your hourly employees, we can turn it on. Okay, I'm not linked to the FMS, so I can't actually turn that on. But one of the things that you need to make sure you do have are position profiles. So I'm going to click on Edit. And this is managed by payroll. So this is something that payroll has to do. You will probably not have the edit rights to do this. So you can contact Christina Freitas, and this is basically from the AS400. Some of the codes, the carpenters, laborers, this is all done by corporate because it's directly linked to the FMS. So someone in payroll will have to do this for you. Someone will also have to associate the default employment company. Okay? And again, this is a corporate function, so payroll will have to do this, and what they're linking it is to the legal default EllisDon company. And you could also set up the time card site administrator. Employee workflow is going to fall from the overall level, so this will already be configured for you. And employee profile workflow will also be configured because it's pulling from the overall level into your project, as well as the time cards workflow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just save that. Okay. I thought I had previously done that. Okay. So once again, that is in your settings in the administration module, and you basically select your project level and go to the field management. So selecting your project under field management time cards. So before you use this module, it's a good idea that you review those parameters and ensure that you do have the legal default company as well as the position profiles. Okay, at this point we are ready to go into our field management. So from clicking the start, going into field management and going into the time cards. It defaults, the view defaults to hourly time cards draft view. That's basically your landing homepage in this module in time cards. So site admin as well as the superintendents, this is where you come in and can create a new employee. You can click on new employee, and this is a completely brand new employee, so a new hire to EllisDon. This is the process that I'll be walking through right now. So we've hired someone, and it used to be you would send the new hire package to London office and someone in payroll would set this employee up for you. There's been an enhancement that was released 2 weeks ago that now gives project teams the accessibility to create new employees. So clicking on new employees takes you into the new employee document. Please leave this employee number filled in. Don't customize it or don't change it. We're going to leave it. And basically we're working through the different sections of this document, the new employee document. So unit of pay, you're only going to be setting up hourly people. You will never be setting up salary. Salary is always going to be managed and handled by our corporate payroll department out in London. So you're going to select hourly. Employee type, there's a pull down. So you're going to select the type of employment, part-time or full-time. You're going to leave the employment status as terminated. The moment that you click on save, once we've completed all the fields, and you click on save, this employee document is going to trigger workflow. So it's going to go into under review status. And it's once payroll has approved it, at that point it becomes active and this employment status will become active. So this is automatically going to be refreshed once it's approved. So please leave employment status as terminated. This is very important. We don't do anything here. And at this point you're basically going to be copying the information from that new hire package. So the person's first name. And their address. Trying to fill in as much information as possible. So again, you're just basically going to be filling in this information based off of that new hire package. If they've previously been hired, you can fill that in. Previously employed, you can also fill that in. This is informational only, recommended for rehire. That's informational only. Multiple position profiles. So we can have an hourly person work as a carpenter and possibly as a general laborer, and then on another job they're going to be doing maybe another type of work. So if this person is going to be working on multiple projects with different functions, then you would say multiple position profile set to yes. By flagging this person with multiple position profiles, you are basically allowing them to work on multiple projects as different functions. So on one project, on the Yorkdale project, they could be a carpenter. And then on another project, they're going to be a general laborer. So if that's the case, this would be set to yes. Okay. Number of dependents, medical insurance number. Again, this is all coming from the new hire package. We do recommend that you take the time and fill the emergency contacts as best as possible, again based on that new hire package. So this section, as well as the employee deposit details, if the new hire package, if you have that information, then you can fill some of this information in. Again, some of these sections and fields are not mandatory, as they are not denoted with an asterisk. So corporate can also fill these in. Okay, so just try and fill in as much as possible, as complete as possible, so that you're helping out the ladies in the London office. This minority information is informational only. It's really meant for the US. In the United States, they kind of track this a little bit more. And please ensure that you scan and attach the new hire package in this section, in the attachment section. This is very important. This allows the ladies in London to fill in the blanks. So if you've left some of these sections empty, they have access to that new hire package and they can go in and start filling in some of the blanks. Otherwise, once you've gone through and reviewed all the information, you're going to then click on Save. And it will automatically trigger review. As you can see, my new employee is under review. So there's a notification that's sent to the payroll department. Payroll will get it. They'll go in and review that employee. They will approve or revert it. Once it becomes approved, it becomes active. At that point, we can now go into hourly employees view, and William should be here, and there he is. So that's how you're going to add completely brand new employees. Now, if you're not sure whether that employee was new or not, you could start the process by coming into this view, hourly employees, and searching by the employee number. I'm sort of trying to find and to see if that employee exists in our hourly employees. If they do exist, that means you don't have to add them because they exist. They're in the database. Okay? So the employee is part of the hourly employees. What you do have to do in order to create the time card is you're going to have to link the employee to the project. And that is we do this by creating an employee profile. So once the employee has been created, the hourly employee has been created, or if the employee existed in this view, in order to link them to your project or to any project, you have to click on New Employee Profile. Okay, and we're going to again walk through the different sections of this new employee profile document. You start off by selecting the employee profile type. We have 3 different types. Payroll, if they are going to be paid by EllisDon. If you're going to be charging your owner for it, then we can select billing. Alternatively, you can select both, which gives you the most flexibility. If, however, you're not going to be billing your owner or client for their time, then select payroll. Payroll is recommended if you're just going to be, if you're not paying them, or sorry, not charging your owner for their time. Okay, I'll just select both, and I'll show you the flexibility that you have with both on the actual time card itself. And the project employment status we leave as active, and then some information is pulled in from the project profile, like our project number and name. Country of employment, Canada. And then the province of employment. Currently this person is not on vacation, so we don't have to turn that on. The start date, this is important because it will automatically pull in to the first time card. Okay, so we'll put typically our weeks start on the Sunday, so I'll just put yesterday's date. And this is where you're going to now select the employee. So we're going to look for William. If your employee is not in this pop-up, then that means that you have to add the employee. And you'd have to go through the steps of creating a new employee. So we're going to go ahead and select the employee. In the live environment, there may be people with the same last name. So it is a good idea to search by number. Oh, sorry, there it is. The first column. It's a really good idea to just use this filter and search by employee number so that you zone in and narrow down to the actual person, because there are quite a few people that have same last names. That's just a tip. Once you've selected the employee, you're going to scroll down, and now we're going to select the employment company. So when you click on that link, if this pop-up had been empty, that lets you know that you have to talk to someone in corporate, in payroll, and let them know that they have to link the company in the settings, what we first walked through today. They would have to do that for you, because that would be empty. And then our position profile, again, if you click on this change position profile and you don't see any profiles pop up, that means that they haven't been linked to your project. So again, payroll will help you with that, because that has to be done at the corporate level. Or sorry, not at the corporate, but someone in payroll will have to do that for you. So this is where you are defining what the person's function on your job is going to be. Are they going to be a carpenter? What union they also belong to? This is where you're defining this. And the emergency contact is pulled in from the employee record. So if I had filled in William's information, we would be able to see it here. That's why we do recommend that if it's a completely brand new hire, you make sure that you have this up to date. If it's an existing employee and you notice that some of the emergency contact is missing, it is a good idea to, since you now have access to edit employees, go in and edit their employee record and update the information. We never want to be in a position where we may have to contact someone and we don't even have that information available to us. So please ensure that this is up to date and as fulsome as possible. We have one last section, which is payroll/salary. And based on the position profile that we've selected for this person, they are going to have a payroll rate. We have the ability on a project-by-project basis, depending on the shift that person is working, you could provide a rate adjustment if you wanted to. So this is not mandatory. It's only, it's an option that you have. If, for example, this person was working nights, maybe you want to pay them $1 extra, you can do that with the payroll rate adjustment. Okay? And once you've gone through and reviewed all of the different sections, clicking on Save. Let me just save as draft. Okay, so I've saved it and it has become active. In the live environment, it will trigger workflow. So this would have been placed under review, and someone from payroll would have approved it. So once you have the employee profile is active, it's at that point that you can create a time card. So time cards are created, you can manually create one by coming into the time cards module and clicking and manually creating it. So what you would do is click on view, hourly employee profiles, and locate the person that you want to create the time card for. So we have Russell. And then over to the right hand side under the actions, clicking on the create time cards link allows you to manually create the time card for that person. So this is the manual way to do it. Alternatively, most jobs have the GT03 automatic time card scheduler turned on. So typically the superintendent or whoever his name is placed in as the administrator will go into the activities view, their own activities, and it will be in your ball and court, in your activity dashboard, because the system's taking care of it on a daily basis and it's going to create it for you. Okay, but you do have the option of creating it manually. And if the system is automatically doing it, you can also go into view, hourly time cards, draft, and they would be listed here because again the system's running it on a daily basis. Okay, so if the system is generating it for you, then you can come into hourly time cards draft and open one up. So I'm going to go ahead and manually create the time card, clicking on that. And it opens up my time card for William. And at this point, the pay period, I'm just going to change that. Well, it probably won't let me change it because it was set up a long time ago. So I'll just leave that. What we're doing at this point is scrolling down. As you can see, all of the information from the employee profile is pulled in. Where you want to go is basically the earnings section. You do have another opportunity on this time card to just review the salary. So this is where it's pulling from the employee record. But where you're going to want to go is to the earnings. And this is really where you're going to start doing the breakdown of their time and basically working through the different lines. So we do have 10 default lines. You have the ability of adding lines as well by clicking on add lines at any point if you've filled those 10 out. So for example, this person worked straight time. So basically putting in their straight time in the buckets, the daily buckets. And that's basically how you're going to start filling it in. And then maybe since they went over the 40 hours, again, sometimes depending on the union that they belong to, let's just say that after 43 hours, we now have to pay them double time. So on this line, all their time is now double. And again, you're just filling in the information. Okay, so you do have the 10 default lines available. If you require additional, you click on the add lines. So this first line, I'm going to have to now assign it to a cost account. So I'll just select this line, click on assign cost account. And once you've assigned a cost account, you're now going to select the budget line. So let me just 3029. So as you can see, if the PM has not linked the cost accounts to the budget line, then you'll be stuck here. Okay, so they really do have to do that linkage in order for you to be able to do time cards. So if you come in here and this pop-up is blank, you do have to talk to your PM, assistant PM, and let them know that the budget line hasn't been linked to the cost account. Okay, so at this point I'm just going to select it, and then we have to do that for every single line. So the second line, I'm going to again add a cost account. You can search by using the filter text boxes up at the top, clicking on the radio button and clicking on assign cost account, and then clicking on assign budget line. Okay. So earlier I mentioned how we have the ability to bill. This is payroll. I was assuming that this employee, we're just going to be paying them from the payroll, and we're not going to be billing or charging our owner. If you wanted to charge your owner, then you can scroll to this side, and under the billable you would say yes. Okay, and there's additional information that you can fill in, like the task name, and this is linked, not linked, sorry, but this is basically task name that you have on the project schedule, if you do have that, and then the description, and then the rate that you're going to be charging. Okay, so that is only if you're going to be billing your owner. So typically, if it's just for payroll, that's going to be set to no. Okay, so that's something also to keep in mind. And we have a separate, this section is called hourly, as you can see up in the top under the green. This section is hourly under the earnings section over on the left-hand side. We also have an other section, which I'm going to just scroll down to. And this other section allows you to add different, if they've gone on a course or an certification, then you can also pay them for that. In the live environment, we have a huge list of payroll components. So in our database fictitious sandbox environment, we only have 2 examples. And then what you're going to be adding in here is the actual dollar amount. A little different than the hourly section, because the hourly was time. We put in time, and then in this section it's actual dollar amount. So if this guy, for benefits, maybe we're paying him $20. This is actual amount. There's a section at the bottom that allows you to attach and upload any supporting documentation. So if they were taking training for a course or a certification for safety, this is where you can attach that supplementary information and link it to their time card. So again, like all other documents throughout the system, we recommend that you've gone through and reviewed everything before you submit it. So in the earnings, I have only placed the dollar amount. I purposely forgot to assign a cost account and budget line, and I've done this purposely because if I try and submit, the system should validate and warn me that I haven't added a cost account and a budget line. So I want to demonstrate that. So please specify a cost account and budget line or a GL account. What that is basically telling me is that in this section, I have failed to link a cost account and budget line or GL account. So it's either cost account budget per line or alternatively a valid AS400 GL account number. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So at this point it is requiring me to add a cost account. Which one was it? I forgot which one it was. 3029, I got them wrong. Mixed them up, okay. Okay, so again, it is mandatory to always link a cost account and budget line in both sections, in the hourly and other. Okay, and once you've reviewed everything, you click on Submit, and it will trigger workflow. So it goes into under review status, and again, someone in payroll will go through and review it and then approve it for you. So mine has automatically, we don't have workflow embedded in the this project, so it's automatically approved. It's become active, and you notice that in an active time card, you under the actions, you can take a closer look at their vacation as well as their welfare, if there was any welfare components. Okay, and that is really it for time cards. Are there any questions? I have a question. Jim, are you currently using this module?
I just started.
Oh, okay. Sorry?
This is my first project with GT03.
Perfect, okay. But are you currently entering time cards?
I will be.
Oh, you will be.
Yeah, once we get the ball started.
Okay, sorry. I thought you had started working with time cards, so I thought you may have some specific questions. Okay.
Oh, no, not yet.
All right. Any of the other people, Melissa or Chris, are you guys currently working in Gate 3?
No.
No, okay. Dawn, do you have any questions?
No, I helped out on the AS400 when we were doing the other ones, so I have
An
good
idea?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so once it becomes active, at that point, the employee will get paid. It's just getting in the information in.
So if there's any mistakes made,
Yes.
okay, what's the process?
So if there's any mistakes and it's under review, immediately contact payroll and just let them know that you think that there was an error, and they can go in because it's in their ball in court and they can modify it for you. Or revert it and have you make the changes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how you create a new employee and time cards. We're now going to go into the daily site reports. So daily site reports is really a function that is managed by the superintendent. Quick question. I'll do a quick poll. Do you guys know if you're going to be working on the iPads for daily site reports, or are you going to be using Gate 3 application?
I've been doing it on my phone.
Perfect. How are you finding it?
It's good. It's a lot easier to upload pictures and stuff.
That's right.
Plus the weather, it automatically pulls the weather on the app for you.
Yes, so I was actually, I was going to try and demonstrate the app, but it hasn't been charged, so I can't demonstrate it. Chris Chris and Melissa, do you guys know if you're going to be using iPads on your job?
Not sure.
Okay. At the time, maybe when you get onto the job, we can always schedule some training and I can walk you guys through it. Because the advantage of using the app, as Jim has mentioned, is really you're walking around at the time that you're filling in your daily site report, but you can start taking pictures, and the moment that you save it on your iPad or your phone, it automatically will be pulled into your GT03 application. That photo goes into not only the daily site report, it's also being uploaded into the media module. So it's nice. So in order to get to your daily site reports from the start, going into the field management, daily site reports, and again we have the option of allowing the system to automatically generate the report for you on a daily basis. We just have to configure that for you. Or alternatively, the superintendent can come into this module on a daily basis and create a new manual report. Okay? So I'm going to show the manual way of creating it. So clicking on New Daily Site Report. And it defaults to today's date. And mandatory field is the shift. So this has to be previously configured. And you have to select the superintendent, site superintendent. If the super hasn't been linked to the day shift, then they won't appear here. That's why it forced me to select someone. If they had been linked to that shift, this would have automatically been populated with their name. You have the option of linking a milestone that has been previously created in GT03. This is for informational purposes, reference only. The system's not going to alert you or warn you. It's just informational reference info. So really what we're doing now is working through the document, and you start off with environmental conditions. There's a weather station that you can configure. When you click on this, get current conditions, based on the configuration and the weather station that you've configured, when I click on this, it goes out, it hasn't been configured. Okay, that's good. Let me go and show you. So clicking on settings, which I had open, or the long way, clicking on start, administration, settings, making sure that you've selected your project, and going down to the field management daily site reports, clicking on edit. So these are, this Celsius unit of measure is pulling from the overall level. We're going to leave that. And then what we're going to do here is I'm going to override this to the project level. And as you can see, if you zone in by zip code, you're going to get a more accurate weather station than city, just because depending on the city that you are working in, if, for example, if it's in the GTA, there could be a variance in weather, for example, at the airport versus the lake, down by the lake. Okay, so if you provide the zip code, it's going to be a little more accurate. I'm going to click on search, and the system's going to search different weather stations. And at that point, let me select this one so that we have one. And let's scroll down. The work delay reasons, again, this is pulling from the overall. These are reasons that you may have that disrupt the work. So weather, labor, incident, you can add to that list. Management staff and hourly staff, this is a section in the daily site report where you're going to be tracking who from your hourly staff, the foreman, labor, carpenter, etc. So these are just labels, they're headings. Let me just toggle back to the report to show that. Right under site staff, you'll notice that I have these titles or headers. This is basically configured in this section right here, hourly staff and management staff. So again, we have defined at the overall level all of these, so you can tweak that or add an additional one as per your project needs if need be. So again, it's just basically these titles that you can customize to display here. So going back to the settings, daily site report shift type. This is where you're defining the shifts. So day shift, project superintendent. It's not auto-generated, so that's why I don't have it automatically creating a daily site report for me. And I didn't specify the superintendent, otherwise it would have automatically defaulted when I created the daily site report. And you have the time. If you are using the auto generate, this is the time that is going to automatically generate it for you. And this is the frequency, daily frequency till Friday, Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. You can also have Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And then in the concrete parameters, this is just adding the concrete type. So you should have some at the overall level, but you can always tweak that at the project level. Concrete pour types, the measurement, and the strength unit. Okay, so let's go ahead and save those changes. And when I toggle back to my daily site report, and up at the top in the environmental conditions, when I click on get current conditions, I should get something now. So the system's gone out to the nearest weather station, and it has automatically pulled in my conditions for 248. I also have the opportunity of clicking on get weather forecast for the next 4 days, and if I scroll down, it gets it for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So it's the forecast. Again, it's pulling it from the weather station. And some projects, you have to kind of, depending on the type of project that you're on, you may have to come in throughout the day. You can save this daily site report as draft, and then if there was some concrete being poured and you wanted to track and record the current conditions, you could come in throughout the day and click on add current conditions, and this allows you to manually add the conditions. So you are basically acting like the weather station because you're manually putting in the time here when it's been tracked or when you're recording it. And again, just filling in the necessary information, humidity, precipitation, the columns, the gust winds, or noting any comments. Maybe you just want to come in here and add a comment that, I don't know, there was a micro burst of flurries or something. You can add a comment, click on apply. Make sure you click on that apply under the actions so that it has been saved for you. Okay, so that's one way. If there are any delays due to the weather, there's this little checkbox that you can select, and the system basically lets you put in and plug in an estimated project work delays in hours. So your best guesstimate and the reason for the delay. These were all configurable in the settings. So if you're missing something, you can go into the settings and add it. And then adding the comments as to what was delayed, the reason, what was it that happened. Okay. depending on the type of project, I know I was talking to one person at a project, they subscribe to the Environment Canada, what is it? Environment of Canada?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, Environment of Canada office. I think they have a service that you can subscribe to their e-newsletters or emails or blasts on a daily basis.
It's like the Weather Network.
That's right. It's kind of like the Weather Network, but it's an actual report that they send to your inbox. So this is an area where if you are getting those weather alerts or daily weather reports from the Environment of Canada, this is definitely where you can upload that file or any supporting documentation. If there was definitely a work delay, you want to make sure that you capture something in the event that down the road we have to kind of prove to the owner that it was Mother Nature or whatever, you know, covering ourselves. Just, you do have the opportunity to use this, okay? So in site staff, this is really where you have the ability to copy from previous. If you click on this top button, copy from previous will actually copy all of the information in all of these sections for assistant super, electrical coordinator, field engineer, mechanical coordinator from the previous report, previously saved daily site report. If you click on copy from previous for each section, it's only copying that section. Okay, so I don't have a previous one, so it hasn't, we couldn't pull anything in. But this copy button will only copy for this assistant super section. Same thing happens in the hourly staff. When you click on copy from previous, this is going to copy the information for all the sections, foreman, labor, all the sections that I've had populated in the previous daily site report that has been saved would fill in here, or one by one. Okay? And then if we don't have one, in my case we don't have anything to copy from, this is where you can put in the people's names, like starting to just pull in from your project contacts. So if you come in here and you don't find the person, that means that they haven't been added to your project contact list. You'd have to go back into the contacts module and link them to your project. Alternatively, if you do find them, you can select them. Did it select it? Let me just see if this is a shopping cart. So this list, this pop-up is like a shopping cart. You have to scroll down, click on Add Contact, and then click on this button in order to pull them into your daily site report. So I do see some supers just put in the manpower number. Others break it down and put in the manpower number as well. So again, this is your discretion. I'm here to show you the different options, not to really dictate. So again, you have to do what's right for you, but you have the ability to break it down and put in the actual people. Okay. For both sections, so that was for management staff and hourly staff. Under the subtrades, this is really where you're going to be recording and logging their daily, the subtrades daily activity and what they are doing. So clicking on Add Subtrade or Copy from the previous daily site report. So the copy from is actually a really nice feature in that once you've created your first daily site report and saved it, typically the same subtrades are going to be working on a daily basis for, you know, for a period of time. So you can come in and just click on copy from previous, and it will copy the previous subtrades that you had on the last saved daily site report. So in this one, it's not going to copy because we've refreshed our database and no one has saved a site report, daily site report. So I'm going to have to start from scratch, clicking on Add Subtrade. And I'm going to look for a couple of subtrades that I can use. Click on Select and pull them into this daily site report. So once you've pulled your subtrades, it's at that point that you have to kind of go into each, these are like subset documents. So at that point I'm now going to click on Edit, and this is now showing me this subtrades mini document, if you will. So this is where I now have to log in the details regarding this subcontractor. So their manpower, number of supervisors, and any some comments, any attachments, any work delays that you noted, and if there are any work delays, an estimate of the hours of that work delay, reasons for the delay, and then some comments. So this is really where you're going to be recording their activity, what they're doing, how they're progressing. Again, you have the space available, so you can add as many comments as you want. You can get quite fancy. You can also attach anything that they provide you. And then at this point, scrolling up and clicking on the Apply to save that subcontractor's information. So you have to do that for each and every subcontractor that you've linked. Okay? Under the miscellaneous information section, we have site visitors and photos and deliveries. So site visitors, you have an opportunity to log project contacts, or if it's been someone like an inspector from the Ministry of Labor, and usually they're not part of the project contact list, you can click on Add Ad Hoc Contact, allowing you to just to fill in their name. Okay, and adding their phone number, fax, email, and then clicking on Save to add that person's name. And then we can also click on Add Comment under the Actions. And then clicking on the Apply to save that comment. Okay. For photos, for adding photos here, this is actually linked to my media module, which I don't currently have any in my media module. But this is linked to previously uploaded photos in the GT03 media module. So you have to previously have uploaded them into GT03 media module in order to pull it. Okay. And then if there are any concrete pours, you'll notice that in the concrete pour section, this little button over on the right hand side is completely grayed out, and that is because, let me just hover over. Okay, sometimes when you hover over, it does tell you that you actually have to save this daily site report as draft. So I'm going to go ahead and save it as draft in order to see it. Now it's showing. So user will be able to create or edit concrete pour reports for a daily site report document with draft document status. That's quite long. All it means is that you can only create a concrete pour report once you have saved the daily site report as draft. And it's at that point that we could click on create concrete pour report, and as you can see up at the very top, it's its own separate document. So I have my daily site report document and I have my concrete pour document. They're two completely separate documents. I can click on save as draft. Obviously first it will ask me to fill in the mandatory fields represented with the asterisks, and then at that point I can click on save as draft and come back in and modify it. So they're two separate documents. The comments log is another area that you can use within the daily site report to make any general log or any additional comments you may have. So one question I do get from supers is, do we have a section for equipment? And as you can see, at the moment we don't. That has been a request. A lot of supers have actually asked that, and there is an improvement down the road, hopefully to include that. But at this time we don't. So you could use this equipment log section to record any equipment related comments. Any questions so far? Yeah, it is pretty straightforward. The app is a little nicer. Just different user interface, right? And you're just pressing it, doing it live, like, yeah, it's different.
But it's good to save it as draft.
Absolutely. That's right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and this one, I'm not going to do a concrete pour. Actually, let me just quickly walk you guys through the concrete pour. Again, like any other document, you would have to work your way through, especially the mandatory fields with the asterisks. These parameters are all defined in the settings. So if you're missing one, you can always go back into the settings and update it. The ticket, so if there's 3 tickets, the concrete type, the number of cylinders, the location, this is more like the project, the grid, the subcontractor, and you can also select the test agency. I don't think I have a test agency in this, no, we don't have one here. Okay, and you could then click on save. So it's active, it has been saved, but I can always come back in, click on edit and add test results. So when you click on edit, it will allow you to add test results at a later point in time once you receive them. Okay, so I'm going to close out my concrete pour, and my daily site report for the most part is completed. I'm going to go ahead and save that. And it becomes active. You cannot make any modifications with the exception of adding to the comments log. So if you've forgotten something, the only thing that you can do is just supersede and create a new version of the daily site report for today. And then what happens is when you save that second version, the system will record that that's version number 2. So it would be 001-2, version number 2. Okay, so if you have forgotten something, you want to make an adjustment and update it, then you can always create a new version. Okay. You can also forward this. So if there's a subcontractor that you want to copy, due to the weather, there was a delay and the subcontractor wasn't able to use their equipment or something, you know, you want to forward it to someone, you can do that. From within the document, clicking on the tools icon, forward. I have no project inbox, okay. So my inbox is not configured for this, I'll probably have to get that, for this project, so I can't demonstrate that. Other than that, are there any questions? Okay, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to call me or email me. Thank you.